Alright, welcome back, NGDL fans, and as promised, I have a playoff preview here. I'm using the same recycled image from the NGDL one, but this has, like, the updated NGDL3 wildcard round there. So, for those who have not been following the league, aside from maybe my Dolphiones very much, these are the 8 playoff teams, and we have just concluded the playoff draft. So this video is going to go ahead and explain my own, what I drafted in the playoff draft. So we each added 2 additional Pokemon, and our cap has increased. Yeah, so there's the matchups. Now, Miami Dolphiones, like I mentioned last week, we're actually going to end up facing the Los Angeles Lucario in round 1. And this is the guy I actually played in the last week of the NGDL. He actually beat me to advance to the playoffs. I was trying out some gimmicky stuff, so it's not like I was bringing my A game. But, yeah, he still actually beat me 3-0, so it's going to be going to look for a little bit of vindication there in my own matchup. In the other battle in the conference, we have the Charlotte Beedrills, the team that finished second in my division. It was a thorn in my side the whole season, you might recall. I didn't clinch until week 11 because this guy was riding up my butt. But he's going to go ahead and take out the red division, or, well, I don't know if he's going to take him out. But he's going to take on, rather, the red division champion, the Quilava Blue Grenets, of course, coached by Use, who is an excellent battler. In the other conference, it's been visually, Visuali, I think is actually his pronunciation, who has been dominant. Now, obviously, most of you probably know who that is. He is a very excellent battler and a big YouTuber in his own right. Actually, probably bigger than me. Definitely is bigger than me. But no, but he actually wanted to join the NGDL. We talked after the PGBL, and he was interested in it, so he came in. He has completely been dominant in the league as well in his conference, the Sevi Conference, and he finished the season 10-2 as well. And he'll be taking on Mr. Chabry's Kentucky Typhlosions, and they have been division rivals this season. I think they actually one of Visuali's losses, I believe, is against Kentucky, so that's a matchup to watch. The other game, of course, we have the St. Louis Flinders, coached by Quilliams23. You guys remember him last year. I think he had the best record last year in our conference. And he was 8-4 this season. He's going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Thunderbolts, coached by Toronto Pure, who finished 7-5. And yeah, so this is actually probably this is a really, really strong playoff picture here. When one Crash 94 is coaching the worst team in the playoffs, record-wise, it's going to be really tight. So let me go ahead and introduce, what the Miami Dolphiones did in the playoff draft. We'll start there. And, yeah, so here is my new updated roster. So with our extra playoff draft money, I decided to first add, and I actually picked second, so I added, Greninja. And, this is actually, kind of reminiscent of the first 2 NGDLs. Obviously, Greninja was kind of my first pick in the first NGDL, kind of the team captain. Well, definitely the team captain. And I actually brought him back in the NGDL2 in the playoff draft as well. So for the 3rd season in a row, I'd like to welcome Greninja to the Miami Dolphiones. And this is actually a Pokemon I'm pretty darn excited about. One of the regrets I had with my draft, you guys, I've been saying it all season long if you've been following the videos, is I failed to really get a lot of speed to abuse with Tapu Lele, and except for obviously Mega Beedrill, and this remedies that situation. And Greninja is such a powerful Pokemon with such a variety of sets. I can run either the Battle Bond set or the Protean set. And I can run it Scarf, I can run it Specs, I can run it, there's so many options with Greninja. It has such a great move pool. It can even run it Physical, and it still does a lot of damage. Greninja, it doesn't really need an introduction. So I was actually kind of happy that Skep Gandy didn't make the postseason, so I could pick up Greninja yet again. And with my second pick of the playoff draft, I decided to actually take Galvantula. And this is actually a really hard pick for me. I was really mulling over Mega Skeptile, because regular Skeptile has Unburden and Mega Skeptile has Lightning Rod. I was really kind of wanting a ground type potentially. Hitmonlee was a Pokemon I was considering heavily because of Unburden and 120 base attack, but I decided to end up going for the Galvantula, and the reason I do that is because it was sitting there, and it's an upgrade at the Sticky Webber, role. Obviously Masquerain has been good, and Smeargle to an extent has been good, but I wanted a Pokemon that was more solid, and plus I don't have an electric type on this team, So I'm like, okay, Galvantry is a pretty good electric type too. It can hit pretty hard with compound eyes, accuracy boosted thunders. So it's a good Pokemon offensively, and it is also obviously really good because it's a sticky webber. So the downside is that it gives me 3 bugs. I'm not going to bring all the bugs, but I do am compounding a few weaknesses here. And the other thing is a special Pokemon, so that's the other thing that I'm kind of like about. I actually already had mostly special sweepers already. Kind of all of them are. So now I'm even a little more specially inclined, but I obviously still have some really strong physical options like Como, Mega B, and even Greninja can be physical, like I said. So I'm pretty happy with how the playoff draft ended up for me. Really excited about these 2 pickups, and they're gonna have to see how if I end up using them in the first match, how they end up doing. But yeah. So let me go in and show you what my opponent did. Now he kind of had a perplexing playoff draft. You guys should be familiar with this guy. It's the guy that I played in the last week of the season, like I mentioned. And he's going to go ahead and add Hydreigon and Serena with his playoff draft monies. And that's interesting because he actually gave himself quite a bit of cap room by doing this. So maybe he's hoping that he can, beat me and then maybe swap for one of my better Pokemon for a lower tiered Pokemon, because he does have $14 in cap space after the playoff draft. So he has a little bit of money to work with, because one of the features of the NGDL is when you win, you can actually battle factory swap so long as you have the cap room with your opponent. But as for the battle against me, the Hydreigon does give him a dark type, so that's something he probably wanted to stop my Tapu Lele from being able to spam psychic moves. On the other hand, it's also extra weak to Fairy, which is the other stab move of Tapu Lele. Now obviously he does have a lot of ways to stop Tapu Lele already, as we saw. And of course Mega Mawile. And yeah, so he also had Serena. I'm not entirely sure if he's going to bring it against me. I can't really imagine so. It doesn't really do much against me unless, I don't know. But I don't know. It's kind of a perplexing 2 picks. I'm probably not going to go into this match too much differently than I would without, the playoff draft. Obviously, I have to account for Hydreigon a little bit. Serena, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, Serena is obviously a pretty slow Pokemon, and I'm not really afraid of not being able to KO it. It does give him a Rapid Spinner, though, so that's a thing. And, yeah, it's interesting, 2 picks. I do like my odds going into this match. Obviously, I'm going to save a lot of my thoughts for that battle. I'm not going to tip my hand too much here. But, yeah, that's what my opponent did. Now, let's go into the other matchups in the playoff draft. I'll go in a little more detail because I don't want to, like I said, tip my hand too much about this matchup, being that it hasn't played yet. I think I play it Thursday, so you're probably going to see it posted on this channel Thursday night. So, yeah, hopefully you guys look forward to that. Let's go into the other matchup in the conference, the one that I will end up, the winner of which I will end up fighting if I win against the Los Angeles Lucario this week. So, yeah, so let's go with the winner of the Red Division first at 7-5. That would be uses Quilava Blue Grenets, and he's going to go ahead and take Umbreon and Shaman with his playoff draft picks. And yeah, he adds another evolution here, and I like the fact that he brought in a dark type. Now he was in a weird situation because President Tim allocated his money to actually be able to pick up a Uber in the playoff draft, and because he was lower seeded, he actually got to pick the Uber after Use's 2 picks. So Use obviously had to cast a wide net in order to anticipate any Uber that President Tim could have taken. Aside from I think a Super Uber. No, I think he could afford one, but then the one Super Uber that was worth anything I think got taken anyway. But yeah, so he's going to add a bit of defense to his draft, and it's still a really scary draft, with the Mega Charizard obviously being that it can be either or. I would have really kind of liked to see him add a Chlorophyll Pokemon, potentially, to abuse with Mega Charizard Y, to break speed parity, potentially, but I don't know. It's an interesting draft, to say the least, playoff draft, and let's see what his opponent did, President Tim's Charlotte Beedrills. So President Tim decided to add Marshadow, who's been a popular NGDL Pokemon in the Uber tier, as well as Whimsicott, poaching that off the division rival Montreal Tryhard Landorus. So he gets a Prankster Pokemon with Whimsicott, which he can kind of abuse definitely abuse against use. And then Marshadow, he was just an all-around threatening Pokemon. I think I fought it when he was a member of Fat Jesus' team this year, the Vatican City Masturbators. And yeah, it's going to be a rough matchup for Use. He was able to pick that Marshadow after seeing Use's 2 picks. And obviously it is a part of fighting type, so that takes care of Umbreon. And yeah, it hits really hard with stab ghost moves, including its it's a exclusive Z move, which can hit pretty much everything on Use's draft pretty darn hard. I know Use is a great battler, but so is President Tim. I'm going to go ahead and give a prediction for each of these other matches. I think President Tim is going to take this in a 2-0. 2-0, that's what I'm going to say. But I think it's going to be a close match. I think it could be one that Use can easily win because Use does have a lot of really strong offensive options. But Tim obviously can break speed parity with Rain, and with the Prankster ability to maybe potentially cripple a bit of Use's main threats and that Marshadow, I think I like Tim's odds to be able to take control of the game, wither things down, and eventually set up a Marshadow sweep, which I believe will probably be his game plan. So, yeah, let's go into the other conference. So Visuali ended up adding Marshadow and what is that? That's not Fion, Manaphy as his 2 picks in the playoff draft, and these are just 2 excellent picks. You have Mimikyu, which can be taken down to 1 hit, which is a huge actually advantage in a draft league. And obviously a sweeping potential, but it also has weird set, and that's one of the things that Visuali does so well is you abuse bulkier sets, and it does have utility use as well. So it's going to be a hard team to prep against for any of his opponents. The Manaphy is obviously 100 base stats all around. It gives him he can use a number of sets. He can run sweeping sets. He can run defensive sets. He can run rain sets, even though he doesn't have a whole lot of rain support in his team. But obviously Manaphy, being that it's a 100 base stat all around Pokemon, definitely plays into what he's been doing really well, and that is build defensive bulky teams to counter the opponents, and that's pretty much what Visuali does really well in general against in all draft leagues. So I really do like this draft for him. I think he definitely gotten a lot stronger and a much harder to prep against as a result of the playoff draft. So it's gonna gonna make things a little bit harder for his opponent here, and who is also a very good battler, Mr. Chabry and his Kentucky Typhlosions. So this was a pretty threatening team all year round. This was actually I believe my favorite draft overall. He really started slowly, and I think he lost his first 3 games, but he was able to battle back to 7-5. So he was one of the hotter teams at the end of the season, and of course he clinched the playoffs in the final game because unfortunately for Ominous Acid, he lost, and he lost to this guy twice as well in the season, and he allowed Mr. Chabry to claim the tiebreaker. This is a really threatening team, and in the playoff draft, he's able to add Latios as well as Hitmonlee. So Hitmonlee was a Pokemon that was on the board, obviously, with my second pick. It was something I was heavily considering, but he's actually going to go ahead and take it. Now, I'm not entirely sure if he's going to go with, obviously, Unburdened, because he doesn't have a Tapu or anything. But it still gives him a lot of interesting options, being that it has good priority, it can spin, you can do all those sorts of things. And looking at what Visuali was able to do, though, it's kind of a perplexing draft because he took Latios, but Latios kind of gets hard countered by Marshadow unless I'm missing something. I mean, Marshadow being Ghost Fairy, Ghost is good against Psychic, and Fairy is good against Dragon. And then he took Hitmonlee after Visuali took Manaphy, and Manaphy is going to probably outspeed. So, and I don't really think it does much to the Marshadow either. Now, I mean, there's other reasons that he might want these Pokemon against Visuali, but it was kind of perplexing that he wasn't trying to counter Visuali's movements more. Still, this is a really threatening team. I think he's definitely a more well-rounded team, and he's probably thinking about the battles after Visuali as well. I would have liked to see him pick up things that countered Visuali a little bit more. So right now I'm gonna have to give. I can't go against the 10-2 guy. So I'm gonna give the edge to Visuali. I think it's gonna be a 3. Oh, that's what I'm gonna say. Obviously, both are excellent battlers, and both are really, really seasoned draft league people. So maybe my analysis here, because I'm just looking through these things and just talking. It's not like I'm putting all of the analysis in all the time that they are. So maybe Mr. Chapry will have an excellent game plan and come in and surprise us. But anyway, let's go into the other game here. A yellow division showdown. And the team that won the Yellow Division in the final week is Quilliam 23's St. Louis Flanders. Obviously, Quilliam's 23, always a great finisher in the NGDL2. Didn't make it. I actually knocked him out in the first round of the playoffs, but he obviously had a great season. He had another great season here, and he's gonna go ahead and pick up Arceus. So he actually dropped Gliscor. In order to have enough money to pick up a Super Uber in the playoff draft, similar to what President Tim did, dropping Blazeflon. So that's an interesting strategy to free up enough cap room in order to pick up an Uber. And being that conveniently for him, Ominous Acid lost, he was able to actually pick up Arceus, the God Pokemon, who had the best kill rate in the NGDL this season, and actually just above Tapu Lele. Arceus finished with 28 kills, 5 deaths. My own Tapu Lele finished with 26 kills, 3 deaths. So actually, I would say Lele probably had the better numbers, but that's okay because Arceus obviously gives him a immediate threat. With it's locked into normal, so he can't use any type. But obviously, Arceus normal is probably the best overall. Arceus. Giving him the ability to extreme speed and Swords Dance and all of that stuff. It's going to be rough to counter, especially since he also has really strong offensive threats in Victini and Roserade and a lot of great defensive options. So I also like the Golbat pick, being that his opponent here is the Tampa Bay Thunderbolts, and obviously he probably essed his pants a little bit after Arceus. He picked up Magearna and Shuckle, both of which obviously have a resistance to normal typing. He also has Dusclops, which has that immunity. Obviously, it's weak to Shadow Claw, which Arceus commonly runs to get around ghost types, but it's still incredibly bulky. And he has Ditto, so Ditto has the potential to potentially reverse sweep Arceus. But you can clearly see the panic in Toronto Pure's because both of his Pokemon kind of look like they're there to prevent Arceus from setting up. And on the other hand, Quillam 23 Golbat does a really, really nice job against Zygarde and Magearna. Now, Zygarde obviously is kind of grandfathered in. Obviously, it's an Uber now. Zygarde 50%, but obviously because this league started before then, Zygarde is still $40, which he paid a little bit extra for it in the initial round 1 of the draft. So, yeah, this is a very good team as well. I'm excited to see how this one turns out. I don't want to go through everything, but both of these teams are incredibly bulky and incredibly threatening. These matches were interesting throughout the entire season between these two teams, and I think it's only going to get more interesting. Yeah. This is probably the game I think is going to be most exciting to see. I'm going to go ahead and I can't go against the God Pokemon. I'm going to predict a 1-0 victory for Quillam 23. But it could go either way. I could see either one pulling this one out. It's going to be a slugfest, that's for sure. But anyway, so yeah, those are my playoff predictions and junk. A little sneak peek and teaser for the playoffs. Like I said, my game will be posted probably Thursday night. If not Thursday night, because the game lasted a little too long and I'm just too tired, it'll be posted Friday. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to lose to the 6-6 guy who squeaked into the playoffs because of me. But no, it's going to be very interesting. I think, and all these games are going to be good. And obviously, I do want to win. I want to win. I want to win this time. I definitely don't want to lose in the semifinals, but I want to lose in the quarterfinals even less. So, good luck to everybody who made it. Good luck to One Crash 94. Good luck to Use. Good luck to President Tim. Good luck to Visuali. Good luck to Mr. Chapry. Good luck to Quilliams. And good luck to Toronto Pure. All these guys are awesome, and all of them are excellent battlers. And Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm hyped. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm hyped. But if you stuck around through this entire monologue video, thank you for watching, and yeah, leave a comment about what your predictions are in the playoffs. If you've noticed anything in any of the particular playoff drafts that you found interesting that maybe I missed, I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are as well. So leave a comment about that, and see you guys again next time. Thanks for watching, and go Dolphiones. Bye.